X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time. Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep vaping with my mills, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You'll see now, watch me right now, punch your face now. Let me show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It is good to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming today. Welcome, welcome. I do have to mess with my camera settings really quick because I do think it's a little bright. We turn the gain down just a little, just a slightly lower gain. There we go. I think that's a lot better. What is up, everybody? Hello, hello. Welcome, good to see all of you. Hey there, trans daughter of water, good to have you back. Lucky Otter, good to see you. No haircut, this is just, I just brushed my hair more today. Like, my hair is puffier when I go live, depending on how much I brushed my hair. And I brushed my hair a lot today. But it is going to get puffier over stream as it dries from my shower. And eventually, by the end of stream, I'm going to be having to brush hair out of my eyes. Hey Zan, you look lovely today. Thank you. I appreciate that, Akira Tanaka. Welcome, welcome. Lefty Jenna, what's up? War Penguin, how are you doing? Clara Voya, welcome, welcome. Sayonara, good to see you. Lucky Otter, what's up? Good to have you here. Banjo the Buck, or Bango the Buck, sorry. Welcome, welcome. The Dreaded Blur, welcome. Young Trey 100, how are you? Good to see ya. Lord Rose 97, always good to have you back. Cleaver 120, as always, good to see you in chat. Alice Viceroy, hello. Good to see you again. Welcome back to chat. Over on YouTube, Heikel Hires. Hello, good to see you. Zach Fletcher, how are you? Clairvoya over in YouTube chat as well. Hello. Thank you for coming to the site. That is where you want to be. Gabriel Costa, welcome. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering why the chat that you're in right now does not match the chat on screen, it's because this is not YouTube chat, nor is it Twitch chat. This is my website chat, xanderhall.com/live, where you can watch my stream and chat in a custom chat, where you can have your own custom name. It probably won't be taken if you have like an ideal username that you want to take. So come over to the website, make a free account, come start talking in chat. You might even get gifted a free sub by somebody else paying. Taking a break from studying, and I'm excited to be here and on time. Depending on the type of studying, one of my favorite pastimes, as far as like, of all the things I could do related to schoolwork, like, this is the most enjoyable. It was studying flashcards while listening to YouTube videos. My go-to way of nailing down whatever it was that I needed to learn, let's say I had a biology like test up ahead and I had like a big list of concepts or words I really needed to know the definitions of by the time that test came around, because like, just knowing those words and definitions would be 70% of the grade. And so there'd be like a list of, let's say, 110 was usually roughly how many different important words I need to know. And this is for like a big test, like a big time test, like a midterm type deal. And so what I would do, and this is, I have lots of memories of doing this back after me and my mom and my stepdad got kind of like homelessified by a hurricane, and we're staying with a friend, and they had like big property, big ranch. And so I remember sitting outside with the laptop and scrolling down through every word that I had to learn the definition of, and then the definition. And what I would do is I'd just get a bunch of cardstock, like cards, you know, like flashcards, the ones with little lines on them. At the top, I would write the word, and then I would write out the definition word for word, copying it down. And I would usually do that at least twice. Once isn't ever enough for me, but twice. And I'll remember upon doing the second one, doing the first one, and once I've done that, usually it's set. Like 90% of them are set. Maybe like some complicated ones that are just weird and I've never heard them before would slip my mind. But that was one of the most effective ways to study, and I always loved listening to a YouTube video or a podcast or something like that while doing it, because it's very easy to just tune it out as background noise and just focus on, you don't need to think to copy down words. So, yeah, pretty effective. Hurt the hell out of my arm and wrist, but it was an effective studying strategy. Homelessified by a hurricane is a wild statement. Listen, I didn't know how else to say it. I used to listen to my reading class assignments on audiobook while I played League. It actually used to work decently well. Yeah, if you have like a reading assignment and you're not finding an audiobook of it and just listening to it while playing video games, what are you doing? Like, actually, I do not like retain information any better from reading it than I do listening to it. So if I could just listen to an audiobook, that is what I would do. Not only that, but with an audiobook, I'm pretty sure you can, like, set it to 2 times speed. Like, I know for a fact if I wanted to, I could listen to, like, an audiobook of whatever from YouTube and just set it to 2 times speed. It'd still be, like, understandable. And I would be able to finish it in twice the speed that a narrator who was hired to read it at a decent speed and pace was hired to do so. And consume the book twice as fast as I imagine I could even read it, like, in my head, right? That is the way to do it. Plus, you can do literally anything else while listening to an audiobook. I just enjoy reading, so it's not bad. Also, audiobooks are way slower, but it depends on what situation you're in, right? So if there's a power outage, I want to have a book to read, right? That's obviously the case. Or if I'm out on like a trip, like a road trip, and I've gone to like the countryside, like something that I would do, you guys are going to say cringe at what book I did this with, but you know, it was a long time ago. When I was a kid and I went on a trip to Colorado, we had internet, but it was spotty, and it would go out frequently from the snow, which, you know, I loved it that it would snow, but there wasn't a lot to do when the power or internet would get knocked out by the weather. And so I brought all the Harry Potter books, which I had never read at the time, and I just read through the Harry Potter books, and I enjoyed just finding like a rock to sit on, and like find a rock to sit my butt on, and like a tree that I can lean back on, like a setup kind of like a chair, and just sit back and read, or just sit on the ground and use a rock as like a backrest and just read a book out in nature. Reading, if you're going to read a book, or if I'm going to read a book, I can't do it inside. I'm not going to read a book indoors. If I'm going to read a book, it's outdoors, using sunlight as my reading light. That is how I read. That is the only way that I read. Other than, like, obviously I read all the time. I'm reading your chats right now, but reading books, like actual paper print books or a newspaper or something, I go outside. I sit on my front step or on the back porch and I let the sun be my reading light. Am I quiet for anyone else? Had to turn the tablet way up, all the way up with the volume? Interesting. Am I super quiet to you guys? You're fine for me? Sounds fine on my end? Interesting. Yeah, I think I should be all good, because on my OBS, my volume meter is just in a pretty decent area. It's mostly in the yellow. I'm sorry, Chill Will. You know, something you might be able to do to help with that, because some devices just have really low max audio for some reason, something you can do is go to the App Store and download a volume booster add-on, or app. Basically, you have the app running at the same time as whatever else, and it reduces audio quality substantially, but, like, it will boost the volume noticeably so. And that's what I use for my phone, because my phone is so quiet with the audio, I have to use a volume booster. What you do is you run your source through a boss metal zone. I have no idea what that is. Zan, you could turn it up too and just have people turn their audio down proportionally. This is as loud as it gets on my end, guys. I can't make it any louder. Although I can make my camera a little less bright because sun is now coming directly through my window. Lighten my ass up. The Dark Canuck, thank you so much for the $2.79 Canadian monies donation. I really appreciate it. Said, Dono works fine too. Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. It means a lot. Thank you, thank you. I have a YouTube extension when watching it on my PC to boost volume as well. I have that too, but it doesn't work on my website, I don't think. I only have it when watching on YouTube. I have, what's it called, like Better YouTube or YouTube Plus. It's super handy. I also have this neat add-on that, here, check this add-on out. It's only useful to YouTubers. It's called vidIQ, but they recently added a feature that lets you just whenever see your stats. Oh, I guess you guys can't see right now, but see your stats. So, like, we can see the stats of any given amount of time, and I can track them, like, at a given time. I wish it would stop disappearing. It's super handy. And you can pin certain stats that you want to always have up just to be able to see. And they always fluctuate, but it's cool to be able to track it. Like, whenever, you know? Should I add, like, a gain booster to my mic? I could add a gain booster. Now I'm gonna be way louder. Hold on. Hold on. Hold up. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Okay. That seems reasonable. Let me open up my website and listen to it. Open up my website and listen to it. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, I think. Website. Yeah, that sounds pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh crap, Gcline88, thank you for the $10 super chat super sticker. Said, being blind and autistic gave me the superpower to understand TTS at 600 words per minute. Holy shit, that's a literal superpower. It's not the best for attention, but navigating my computer any slower feels like ass. I completely understand, Gcline. God damn. Yeah, I mean, I listen to everything on 2x speed. God, I need to shave. I let my beard get a little too beardy. It's not stubble anymore. It started to get... You hear that? If you guys can hear that noise, that's not supposed to be audible. That means it's gotten too long. I need to shave. Probably tonight. But I'll probably forget. I'll almost certainly forget. Don't shave, Xander Hall? Guys, I do not like having, like, long facial hair. My ideal facial hair is, like, stubble. Like, I like having stubble. Because you guys have to understand, a little bit of facial hair on me looks good. Because it adds some distinguishment, some maturity, a couple years of age, and I've got a little bit of, like... I've got a young-looking upper face, I think, and so people without the facial hair immediately think I'm, like, 19. Just immediately assume I'm, like, 19 or 20. I get carded way more whenever I shave my face, like, down to the, like, against the grain with the razor. But I have a very strong jawline and butt chin, and, like strong butt chin that is very much, these are assets I want to show off, right? I have a pretty attractive jawline and chin. And so I don't want to hide that. And growing facial hair too long, I mean, you can still tell, but it's kind of getting a little covered up. So while I like having some shadow on my face with the stubble, which adds, like, the character and the age to it, I like that. I want to keep the jawline as visible as possible. You know? Because it's, you know, it's like being a woman with just enormous tits and not wearing stuff that shows off your cleavage. You know, it's like, what are you doing? You are depriving the world of greatness, and I don't want to deprive the world of the greatness that is my jawline. I'm a 43-year-old trans woman and still get carded. I love it. Well, sometimes they got a card no matter what, but that is a compliment for sure. I got the same thing going on. Very young-looking face, requires facial hair. Yeah, I like having some facial hair for sure. Connor McMahon, thank you for the $5 euro, or the €5 pound dollars. I can't tell the difference between, like, I don't know of the symbol that looks like this and the symbol that looks like this. I don't know which one is euros and which one is pounds. I think the C one, the C-looking one with the lines through it, is the euros. I've never been to Europe. If I go to any European country, okay, cool. If I go to any European country once, I will solidify it. I've just never left America. You have to understand, like, until I've left America, outside of America is as real to me as Middle-earth or Narnia. Okay? You understand that, right? As an American who has never left America before, Canada, Mexico, Britain, France, these places are as real to me as fictional settings are. God, I hate America. This is not an American thing. It's just I've never been there. And, like, no other country is like that. I'm sorry, we're the main characters. Zan looks like the loser nerd in a movie who's played by a really attractive actor. Unironically, yes. Gabriel Costa, you fucking nailed it right then and there. Like, that is the best conception of myself that I can find when it comes to my attractiveness. I feel like I am the aesthetic of, like, the nerdy character that's supposed to be unattractive, that women aren't, like, into, that they, for some reason, casted a pretty attractive dude to play, but then they gave him, like, they, like, curled up his hair and gave him glasses or something, and we're like, alright, now he's ugly. I don't have glasses, but you know what I mean. The problem with America is it's too big to travel to America for vacation. That is a benefit and a drawback. Technically, if you wanted, you could probably see most of America in 2 weeks. I wouldn't go any less than 2 weeks. If you could take a 2-week vacation to America and rent like a decent sized SUV or like even an RV, you can literally road trip across America. And that is in itself a life-changing trip if you are not American. I genuinely can't imagine a place that you could be from where a across America road trip doesn't blow your mind. Because America is like every single climate, you know? You've got mountains, you've got deserts, you've got tropical beaches, you've got like big open country bumpkin fields, you've got like deep woods and like jungly, wet, like forests with giant trees up in the Pacific Northwest. China or India might be comparable. Yeah, like I don't think someone from China or India would be as impressed, but like if you're from Britain, you might just be mind blown at experiencing the travel time between things, you know? Like going from Florida to Seattle. Just the trip and not having to stop and travel across water at any point. That is thousands of miles. It's like a week-long road trip on its own, not counting like not driving. It's just, I can't imagine that not being mind-blowing to somebody. German weather is too hot for me sometimes. I would not survive America. Well, here's the thing about that. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I have AC. And I'll listen to all the Euros who died in the heat wave of '03. Yeah, basically we've got air conditioning, so that makes it all good. Well, I have a fan. Dog, oh man. Do you want to... My AC broke down for like one summer in Florida. Oh god. Oh god, it wasn't good. The AC broke down, and I had some complicated IRL shit going on that precluded me from having AC. And I was just fucking burning up. Oh my god. Streams in Florida during the summer without AC, I was just having to get ice packs. I'm not joking. I was having to freeze water bottles and ice packs in the fridge, in the freezer, and like get them ready like 10 minutes before stream, like find a way to like wrap them up in a towel and then hang the towel from the back of my chair, not this chair, but a similar one, and then have ones that I was sitting on. So like I would have for most of stream something cold on me because there was nothing else. And something I tried to get as like a measure to help, and it helped, like it made it 10% less bad, was this thing called a swamp cooler, I think. Yeah. Here's a video that explains why they suck. But if you have literally nothing else, it's not too bad. It genuinely isn't too bad if you have nothing else. And you need cool.
Net influencer hype advertiser content you won't believe they don't want you to see lately about these so-called personal air conditioners. You might have wondered if these might be too good to be true. And today I'm here to tell you that you're right to wonder, and the answer to your question is an absolute, unequivocal, indisputable, irrefutable probably. This thing, as well as most of the devices out there which emulate its design, including the Blurp, is a miniature swamp cooler.
They cost
Note,
like $50.
Not air conditioner, despite what it may claim on the box. Swamp cooler. By the way, swamp cooler seems to be a rather US-specific term. Evaporative cooler is the more technical and also less gross term, but swamp is just one syllable, so I'm saying that. It's also just more fun. Swamp, swamp, swamp. See?
Well,
deal with it. Swamp.
I think of it because it's like, I used one of these in Florida, and Florida is swampy, so that's why I thought it was called that. I have no idea why it has that name.
Coolers do work. In fact, in parts of the world, they're genuinely wonderful and can sometimes negate the need for air conditioning altogether. But these are not replacements for air conditioning. If you live in a region of the world where the role of air conditioning isn't just to cool, but indeed to provide dehumidification.
The sad thing too is, this would effectively be an air conditioner, and would be so much more effective if they were willing to make the design slightly larger, and it wouldn't even be that much more expensive to make. You would just need add like an attachment that clips onto the front of this. You could 3D print this, I bet, and just make make a condenser. Just make something that's like a shell that is dark on the inside, and thus is going to be a lot cooler on the inside, and make it so that the cool air pushed out of this thing, the cool damp air pushed out of this thing, is going up through a tube that's surrounded by like darkness, and it should cool down even more and then have an output, and that'll be even cooler air than what comes out of this thing already. And you could just have this be made of plastic and come as like a second part. Yeah, I think a larger size would be worth the 10 to 20 buck price hike. Yeah, and wouldn't that work? That wouldn't work because of the laws of thermodynamics? I'm pretty sure it would, though. Is that not like the principle that ancient building cooling technology was based off of? Like, they would literally build a tower, and at the top of the tower was a bunch of slats through which wind from the high up area, like higher up the wind, was supposed to go in through. And then the wind would funnel down into a series of like pipes they had built, like just tunnels. And the tunnels were dark and cool, and then they would bring it down to a reservoir of water that existed below the building, like below the floor, and the air would have to go over the reservoir of water and then come up through grates in the floor, which would push up cool air, like air conditioning. And this is how like ancient buildings, even to this day, I mean, they do this in the Middle East, but like this was like an ancient, like African, Middle Eastern, and I think it was used in like India, some parts of China and stuff, like all across areas where there's very arid climates. This method was used to cool buildings. It's literally capture wind, bring the wind, create a wind tunnel, pull it over water to cool it, a dark reservoir of water to cool it, and then it has nowhere else to go but the inside of the building, the place you're trying to cool. Why not Italy? I'm sure Italy did it too or something like that. But like that is the principle I'm pretty certain that you could just take and use to make this 1,000 times more effective.
Humidification? Well, then these things are just silly.
There does need to be a way to suck hot air out, though. You're right. It would have to dissipate somewhere. Maybe you could just fill it with water, because water has more thermal capacity. Like, it takes more heat energy to warm up water, right? So you could just fill... it just come with, like, a thing full of water, and then, like, the air that this pushes out go through the tubes and are, like, water-cooled, and then it comes out of, like, a thing. I don't know.
You see, these aren't air conditioners by any stretch of the imagination. However, in a sort of odd twist, swamp coolers do in fact use the same general sort of principle as a conventional air conditioner. They exploit the fact...
You have to fill it up with water, too. I always filled it up with ice water, and that helped a lot more, but it eventually melts. So I always had to keep ice going. You know, I ended up getting like 4 ice trays and always making sure that the ice trays were full so that I could take the ice out and put it into this thing. I ordered one of these on Amazon, and I honestly might not have made it streaming, because I don't think summer of 2020 I would have been able to continue streaming did I not buy one of these things and like use it and my other methods to keep myself cool. The PC heated up so much when I would stream that it turned the room into a furnace. It was so fucking hot in that room. Don't miss it. I don't miss it. I don't miss Florida, I must say. Well, Soda Cider Studios, I can assure you, asexuality is very real, as is being aromantic. You don't have to be both, but you can be both as well. Hope you keep trying to stop vaping. Well, I haven't tried to stop vaping. As I've said for a million times, once I have built up enough of a, like, nest egg that I can afford to take, like, a week or two off of streaming entirely, I'm going to quit vaping. Cold turkey. But I have to be able to take a couple weeks off of streaming to do that because I have accidentally quit vaping before, I guess you could call it. By that I meant, like, I just didn't have any more vapes and couldn't get any for, like, a day and a half. And it was not good. It was very not good. It's not going to be fun for me when I quit cold turkey. But once I've quit and I've kicked the like, cravings, they'll be gone. I've been addicted to, like, caffeine many times before, and then I just, like, I just keep continuously forgetting to say buy more Monster or coffee, and I'd be like, man, I feel like such shit. Why do I feel like such shit? And I'd feel like less shit every passing day. And like a week and a half later, I'd be like, man, I still feel a little shitty, but what was up with me the last couple weeks? And then I'd remember to buy Monster again, like, you know, I forgot, I need to buy some Monster, and I'd do it. And then, I'd buy the Monster, drink it, and instantly my headache would go away. And, like, my eyes would stop being sore. Stuff like that. And I'd be like, what the? Oh, I think I might have been going through caffeine withdrawals from not drinking Monster. So, I can definitely kick it. I just don't want to be streaming or having to stream as I'm going through nicotine withdrawals. Not my plan. That's not normal, fucking hell. I mean, after I stop drinking caffeine for about a week, I just get headaches. My head just hurts, and like all this area is just migraine-y, for lack of a better term. And I feel generally tired. The best way to stop smoking is to keep the motion, but remove the smoke. Have some steel rod you pull out whenever you need to take a smoke. Well, I don't smoke, I vape. But, yeah, I would honestly probably just, get, like, some sort of flavored air thing and just pull on that to help, like, get off the addiction. Because a lot of it is just, like, the desire to do this when your hand isn't doing anything. Fume? Yeah, maybe. They aren't, like, effective as something that, like, relieves the feeling, and they aren't very flavorful, apparently, but they will help you with, like, the urge to, like, pick one of these. But you could also just use a dead vape as well. They taste and smell awful, dead vapes do. Even if they're dead and nothing's coming through it, like no battery. It's just not a pleasant flavor that comes through. I want to quit smoking weed this year. That's definitely your choice. I don't ever, well, I mean, obviously I can't say never, but I don't currently have any plans to quit smoking weed. I quite enjoy it. Or reason to stop, lol? When have I said I'm not going to stop vaping, chat? I've literally explained to you guys that I literally cannot financially afford to take 2 weeks off of streaming to go through nicotine withdrawals, and trust me, I cannot stream with nicotine withdrawals. If you are a lefty, then you recognize addiction as a, like, health issue, and if you recognize it as a health issue, then you should recognize why being bitchy about when I quit vaping is not helpful. That won't help minimum volts, trust me. It'll just get stressful, and that'll make me want to vape more. Like, as a roundabout. One of the biggest things you can do to make you want to avoid vaping is, like, if you are addicted to it already, is avoiding stress. The more stressful of a situation you're in, the more you're going to hit your vape constantly and need to. Especially like if you're angry. So if you're playing like a frustrating video game, maybe take a break if you're trying to quit nicotine or something, because that's gonna be hard. Like voluntarily getting stressed while already fiending for nicotine, not a good idea. Anyway, I think it's about time for us to get into our topics for today, huh? Let's go. Connor McMahon, thank you for the €5 says, hey Zan, I've damaged the muscles in my chest and shoulder, but that turf you covered recently was still the most painful thing for me today, lol. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed the video for as much as you got. Okay, the light will soon pass. Unfortunately, I am being pelted by Jesus rays at the moment. Yeah, thank you so much for the $5, Connor McMahon. I appreciate it, and I'm sorry you had to be subjected to that awful turf. Borf Boo, thank you for the $10 donation super chat. I appreciate it. It says, getting Bob White's sometime in April. Here's something for your future quails. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It really, really does. Thank you. Okay, hold on. I gotta turn down this gain. What the heck? There we go. Those lights on? Yeah, they are. You can just barely see them. Okay. Thank you so much for the $10. I think the offensive T-slur is the name of the turf in question. Although not really a turf, just a true scum type, I think. Maybe referring to somebody else, though. They weren't very specific. They just said turf I covered recently. Pepper T21, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Really quick, I do need to bring out my calculator so I can count up these donos. Thank you, I really appreciate that, Pepper T21. Says I have a Dune meme for you.
A third stage.
I'm not really much of a Dune guy. I don't know a lot about Dune. I've seen the first Dune movie and a couple of lore YouTube shorts, and you know, the lore is interesting for sure. But let's see if this is funny.
Parole officer will be here within minutes.
Yes,
Okay.
I can smell his gas station weed from here.
The five-head-looking ass must leave.
Get the f*** out of here, five-head looking ass.
We have just folded space from Chirac.
I do know that these guys are like people who had some level of psychic ability, so they could do like the super like fast space travel, but they require spice. They have to be high on spice for it to work and to fuel it. And so eventually they just end up getting sealed in tanks that are like full of spice dust. And then they turn into this eventually. It just like the drugs turn. This is what like a few centuries on spice does to a motherfucker, basically. Yeah, the spice is sandworm shit. The life cycle of the sandworms are also quite cool, where it's like the sand is just full of little plankton that eventually grow up into sandworms, but the sandworms eat like trillions of plankton per day. And so it's like maybe there's a few million sandworms on the planet total. But like that is only a fraction of 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 the trillions upon trillions upon trillions of their larvae that are just in the sand. That's super cool.
Yes? How was your journey?
Many ops in Chirac. Better than those in the loo. You are transparent. I see many things. I see that skunk-ass weed growing in your closet. I see plants within your pants. I see two great gangs, the Atreides and the Harcrackheads, feuding. I see you behind it. The f*** you doing?
The Atreides are growing a
Damn, I'm hitting the weed vape like I'm a guild navigator.
secret strain. A strain unknown to us. A strain involving caryophyllene. The Duke's gas is becoming more popular on the up block. He could run up on me. I have ordered the Atreides to occupy the projects to grow my weed, thus replacing their enemies, the Harcrackheads. The Atreides will not.
Why do I understand the real life references here more than I recognize the Dune references. I forget where this is. It's a letter and then block. It's one of the highest gang activity neighborhoods in America. Like, if you think you live in the hood... Yeah, O Block, thank you. If you think you live in the hood and you don't live here, you don't get to say you live more in the hood than the people who live here live in the hood. It is... Yeah, O Block in Chicago. It is the hood. It is like, it's like Silicon Valley for tech bros, but the hood. So that's the joke they're doing here.
Crackheads. The Atreides will not refuse because of the tremendous high they think they will gain. Puff puff passing with the hose at the function. Then, at an appointed time, Baron Harcrackhead will return to the projects and perform a drive-by of the Atreides. I have promised the Baron 5 of my finest Aryan Brotherhood hitmen.
So the Harcrackheads will rid you of the Atreides.
Yeah, that's literally what I just said, dumbass Finding Nemo looking at.
One small point. We ourselves perceive a slight problem within the Atreides op block. Paul Atreides. People already call him the Muad'Dib, the Keef.
That was actually pretty fucking good.
That's Hasharak, bearer of the Bong Jafar. Please take that out.
You mean, of course, Duke Leto Atreides, his father.
I said Paul, you stupid ass
Oh, sorry.
Why do these memes always end up like, haha, N-word. We're saying the N-word and we're white. Oh, isn't that funny? Oh.
We want his ass killed. Send that to the penis explosion chamber and have his penis exploded immediately. I did not say this. I was not here.
That fish is trying to gaslight me, on God.
One jihad later.
Hey, you ever notice how
But
this room looks
unironically-
like a mosque? Perhaps there is some subtext here, Muad'Dib. Emperor Shazam the 420th. There are guild lowriders around us containing many great racially affiliated gangs of the prison industrial complex. Send them back! Boys, shut your clown ass up!
You shut your clown ass up!
You have some idea of how much I could smoke.
Bro, if that boy pops one perk, you're not gonna know how to act. He's exacerbating my fibromyalgia.
I remember your Bong Jabbar. Now you'll smoke from mine. There is a Harcrackhead among you. Give him a boof and let him stand forth. If fated wishes, he can meet you with my boof in his hand.
I wish it.
The Emperor's boof.
Oh, bro, this booth is ass.
It's synthetic, Fated. Cannabis is illegal on Kaitane.
Oh shit, I'm bugging out!
And so the Muad'Dib banished synthetic cannabinoids from the Imperium forever, ushering in a new age of clean highs until everyone developed psychosis and killed each other, and then his son turned into a big worm guy. Also, Duncan Idaho was there. The great Duncan Idaho, right? It's okay.
Great, okay. Yep, everything's okay. I like how I'm emanating light. That's an actual lens flare. There's a lens flare. What is happening? The sun is like blinding the camera directly somehow. Oh yeah, I can kind of see how that's happening. I wonder, what if I... Huh. Yeah, that helps a little bit. It's not a perfect fix, but... in like 10 minutes, the sun will have moved enough for the shadow to cover the lens. Right now, the sun is on the lens at like a diagonal view. So in like 10 minutes, this part will go away and we'll be back to normal quality, all right? Cool, cool. Very nice. They call him Duncan Idaho because he peels a mean tater. Is that actually why they call him that? How the fuck is the word Idaho still around? Like a billion years in the future, when we're spacefaring. How the fuck did people keep the term Idaho around? How is that even a last name? Yeah, I hope the guy who made it was actually black and not a racist 4chaner, but he also does Warhammer, so it's a 50-50. No, it's a 90-10, okay? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a single non-white Warhammer fan. I'm sure they exist. I'm just saying I've never met or seen one. Like, seriously, I'm thinking YouTubers now in the Warhammerverse. I'm trying to think of, like, a black Warhammer tuber or an Asian Warhammer YouTuber or just, like, not a white Warhammer YouTuber. I can't even think of Warhammer YouTubers that are women off the top of my head. Fuck. I have seen an East Indian Warhammer fan. We did it. Racism has lost. Well, I'm sure it's just... I'm literally just making the argument right now that Warhammer fans are white as fuck. I can't confirm, as a woman, no one will sell Warhammer material to us. I doubt it's that extreme, unless it's like... I imagine you'd have to go to some really, really owned by a weirdo game store for them to refuse to sell to a woman, just like straight up. I feel like the more common thing would just be more like sarcasm is lost. I mean, you understand sarcasm is a tone of voice, right? But there's a reason why tone indicators exist. Like if I said, "Oh yeah, I love murder," it's obviously sarcasm because you can tell from the tone of my voice, I would hope, unless you're tone deaf. Tone does not exist in text. Because that was said exactly as someone who is not being ironic would say it, and I have had people say stuff just as crazy in my chat. You understand that, right? This just in, Xander Hall's pro-murder. Listen. I can't confirm or deny that. Okay. Yeah, you have to type every other letter like caps and uncaps in order to get across the sarcasm. You understand that, right? All right. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Oh boy. So it looks like, and we probably could have guessed this a while ago, the new conservative strategy for the rest of this year, at the very least, is to use the control they have in red states to implement bills barring youth from having access to the internet so that they can essentially crack down on their access to pro-LGBT content. They've cracked down on it in schools, and the response from people who defended these bills was, well, these kids have access to the internet, they can still go online and learn about what they want to. And so the response now from the right is to say, oh, but also we're cracking down on their access to social media and the internet. And not only that, but they're passing bills that ban and criminalize children being able to access any material that is considered lewd or sexual, or of a sexual nature. And it is important to point out that many of these red states already legally consider pro-LGBT material, no matter how safe for work it is. Like, even if it's literally like a 10-year-old making a coming out video. Like remember those videos that would go viral on YouTube where it's like a 10 to 16-year-old like filming their coming out to their parents, and usually it's a positive response and it goes viral and it's like pretty heartwarming. Like, that video would be considered lewd or sexual content by these red state standards because of the fact that it simply contains the subject matter of homosexuality. So, with that in mind, more Republican states are quickly adopting this strategy. And the next in line, though not the last and not the only currently doing this, is Kansas. Kansas internet porn bill passes. Will lead to LGBTQ censorship. Kansas's Republican-dominated House has given final approval to a wide-ranging bill meant to stop minors from accessing porn, but a bipartisan group of critics warn it could censor parts of or works of art, classic books, and LGBT content, as well as provide sensitive identification information to unregulated third parties. And remember, at the end of the day, these bills do not just affect children, right? Like, these bills are not just going to, worst case scenario, prevent kids from having access to whatever it is that you don't want them to have access to, right? Even if it's LGBT, like pro-LGBT stuff. This is going to affect adults too. You cannot have restrictions put in place meant to keep kids from accessing something without that also adding a barrier for adults who are just illegally trying to access that thing they're going to have to go through. The same argument that Republicans overwhelmingly have used to defend their position that, like, restrictions and safeguards that are put up to increase the amount of time and effort it takes to acquire a firearm legally in this country, they argue these things are unconstitutional and bad and pointless because they don't prevent crime as much as they inconvenience legal citizens. So where is that energy on this issue? Listen, all I'm saying is, if the Republicans think banning porn, just as conceptually, just banning porn, that's completely leaving out the whole banning kids from being able to access LGBT content and whatnot, and social media. Banning porn in 2024 is the Republican strategy. Let's see how it works out for them in this coming election. This is some of the most mask-off they've been in the modern day as far as what they want to do. Like, who is going to want to live or move to Kansas, Florida, Texas, Utah, any of these states that have passed these bills when they know what man is going to want to when they know they have to enter their ID just to go to porn sites? Not a lot. Not a lot. I think there's going to be a great exodus from these states, unironically, because of the lack of access to porn. I know it's kind of a meme, but right-wingers might be more receptive to this argument than anything else. Do any of you remember the episode of South Park where the internet goes out for the entire country? And they all have this, like, Dust Bowl-style mass migration to the West Coast where the last bit of internet is, and Randy immediately uses it to watch porn. That is what's going to happen for the residents of these states. Fathers all across these states are going to be like, guys, we have to get out of the state. We got to get out of here for no particular reason. We're going on a trip. We're going to California. Yeah. No. Let's get in the car. Just don't even bother packing. We'll buy luggage when we get there. Quick, kids, get dressed. Get in the car. We need to go now. The measure passed 92-31, mainly along party lines, and now goes to the governor's desk for final consideration. During a discussion of votes, Representative Kenneth Collins, a Mulberry Republican who splintered from his party to vote against the measure, said he worried about the broader implications of the legislation. By the way, chat, after this, I genuinely think gay marriage and premarital sex are genuinely on the table now for, like, cracking down on. This may sound crazy and, like, genuinely over the top, but if you told me a year ago that Republicans would be successfully passing porn bans all across the country, like full-on porn bans, I would not have believed you. I would have called you a little bit crazy. Like, yeah, but the Republicans, they want to do that, but they want to do it once they have full control. They can't really, like, let the mask slip that early. You know, it's a bad strategy. They got to do that once Trump gets reelected, if he does, you know? I would not have predicted they'd go this far and this mask off this soon on the election year. Like, what are these Republicans thinking? Do they genuinely believe porn is so unpopular and hated that this type of policy is going to be supported? I suppose at the same time, the prohibition happened. The prohibition is something that had unanimous popularity almost across the country for like a month, and then prohibition happened. People realized how much it sucks to not be able to have alcohol anymore, and the public opinion on prohibition flipped overnight. It was like Brexit. Yeah, and Brexit's another good example where, like, people voted. Brexit was crazy because there was, like, so many people who voted yes just to see what would happen, thinking there would be a redo election. I forget exactly the details. It was really bizarre. It had something to do with, like, British people didn't vote overwhelmingly, or did vote, like, I don't care, or just voted yes, thinking that it wasn't serious, or this wasn't the real election, or there'd be a redo. So it's possible that people think this is so insane, it actually demotivates them because it makes them feel like the Republicans have outed themselves as so crazy that they don't need to go out and vote because everybody else is. Which is never how you should feel, you know? Like, you should never have a lead and then have that lead make you feel as though, ah, yes, now I can slack because I have a lead. I can afford to slack. That is a quitter loser mindset. When you have a lead, you should work harder than ever to build that lead and get even further into the lead and win. I don't know. I think that's a good point. I have a concern that while the bill does prohibit material that is harmful to minors, it leaves subjectivity as to what this bill bans, Collins said. Quote, I also have concerns that the information used to verify a person's age could fall into the hands of entities who could use it for fraudulent purposes. Yeah, do you really want every social media platform that you use, if you live in one of these states, to have your entire ID info when you consider how many regular data breaches happen all the time with these big corporations and companies? Because with your ID verification, that has your home address on it, guys. Your home address, date of birth. Honestly, it might have enough information on there for people to hack your, like, logins to accounts and stuff. Nobody wants to have these companies forcing you to have access to their, like, to your ID, or forcing you to give them access to your ID and having that saved in some kind of database for confirmation. No one wants that. No one's going to trust that. Although, to be fair, then again, a lot of Americans trust corporations more than they trust the government. I'm surprised Mudahar's not covering this. Yeah, but Mudahar's, like, thing is that he doesn't really get into politics. The problem is, like, when people who say they don't want to get into politics do get into politics, it's because they're getting into culture war stuff, which is political. And then it's a 50-50 on what the take's going to be. But this is, like, overtly political. So I don't think Muda's going to cover this because, you know, it's politics. And he's Canadian, and it doesn't affect him at all. They might already have bills like that in Canada, too. Like, it's possible that in Canada you already have to enter your ID to access porn. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. I know it's a thing in the UK. Like, you have to enter some kind of identification. No? Oh, that's good. Canada is far less cringe in my mind now. State statute delineates content that is harmful to minors as the description, exhibition, presentation, or representation of nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or sadomasochistic abuse. State statute also includes homosexuality in its definition of sexual conduct. Several Democrats said this provision could lead to a ban on LGBTQ online materials for those under 18. Oh, you think, state Democrats, you think it might lead to a ban, effectively, if they pass this bill? You think the Republicans might, accidentally pass a bill that incidentally bans LGBTQ online materials for those under 18, regardless of how safe for work they are? Do you think they might be doing that? Man, I wonder. Critics say the bill could also restrict blogs listing the most gay-friendly cities, a website dedicated to providing seminal books such as The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, or art sites with pictures of nude sculptures such as Michelangelo's statue of the biblical hero David. Senate lawmakers voted for, well, anything biblical won't be banned, regardless. Like, you will still have, like, copies of the Bible in every single red state school library, with the sections about the, like, collections of the foreskins, which I believe might have been done by David. Wasn't it David? Wasn't it literally David who collected the 5,000 Philistine foreskins? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that literally David who did that? Any Bible people in chat want to confirm or deny? I'm probably wrong, but I am remembering it as David who had to sever. That was David. Okay, I'm right. Well, that is actually fucking hilarious. That is actually really, really funny. It was 200. That's still a lot of foreskins, okay? Any more than 3 harvested foreskins from your fallen foes is too many fucking foreskins to be carrying, okay? It's like collecting rotten flesh in Minecraft. It's inventory trash. It's just clogging up your space. Critics, oh yeah, I already covered this. Kansas Reflector is a non-profit news organization providing in-depth reporting. Oh wait, that's just about the journalist that provided this info. Yeah, this is pretty horrific. This is actually quite horrific. This is only the beginning. Several states have already passed laws like this, and this is just the beginning. By the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if most red states have effectively banned porn and accessing pro-LGBT content by minors under the age of 18. The age of what is considered a minor may vary across different states in this respect. It could be, in some states, 14, 16, and in many it might be 18, just outright. But if the Republicans could just straight up ban all LGBT content online in their states, they would. This is just how they're starting. This is just step one. The way they can do this with the most support feasibly possible by saying they're doing it for the children. It is and has always been a lie, though. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. It was great. We're so fucked. Good seg. Pretty good seg. God, my nose is so itchy. Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys liked that one. If you're watching the stream and you want to support me, by the way, you can do so in a variety of ways that help me a whole lot. For example, you can simply leave a like on my stream by dropping a thumbs up. It helps a lot no matter what content you do it on. Videos, streams, whatever it is. Drop a like. It really helps a lot. It's free, takes half a second, and forces YouTube to push my content out to way more people. So seriously, drop a like if you can. It also makes my nose stop itching, so maybe help me with that too. And then, of course, if you want to support me even further, you can subscribe, ring the bell icon, and also donate, sub, or gift a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. But, yeah, with all that said, no matter how you support me, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. My nose, why will it itch? The nose itch is literally just because my mustache has grown out. I just need to shave, and the nose itch will go away. It's literally that every time. It's literally just my facial hair. Because the itch is literally right here. It's all right here. In this little area. It's not even my nose. It's more my lip, but it's not even my lip either. I don't know what to call this area if not my nose, right? Is that area technically my nose? Oh yeah, the Republicans are hitting me with the nose itch ray. You're right. True. You got me there. The nose itch ray. I did not consider that. All right. Let's get these topics done so we can get to our call-ins, everybody. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Oh, man. This headline goes crazy. Trump again escalates attacks on judge's daughter despite gag order. Oh, boy. Donald Trump's first criminal trial is coming up, so of course he's attacking the judge and his family. Donald Trump is still tiptoeing around violating the gag order in his hush money trial, this time launching fresh vitriol at Judge Juan Merchan's daughter while referring her to his followers by name. Quote, Judge Juan Merchan is totally compromised. Judge Juan Merchan is totally compromised and should be removed from this Trump case immediately. Trump posted on social media Thursday afternoon. His daughter, Lauren, is a rabid Trump hater, who has admitted to having conversations with her father about me, and yet he gagged me. She works for crooked Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Adam Shifty Schiff, and other radical leftists who campaign on getting Trump and fundraise off of the Biden indictments, including the witch hunt, which her father presides over, a total conflict, and attacking Biden's political opposition through the courts. Former DA Cy Vance refused to bring this case, as did all federal agencies, including elections, he continued. Huge. Zan's Trump inflections are perfect. I've listened to him speak a lot, you know. It's kind of hard not to pick up on the way he speaks. You gotta grab him by the pussy. They when you're famous, they let you do it. She works for crooked Joe. Oh yeah, I already read that. Trump's new line of attack against Merchan's daughter comes after he targeted her for allegedly sharing a doctored photo of Trump behind bars on social media, aka a meme. That theory was quickly debunked after a representative for the New York State court system pointed out that the account wasn't even hers. Judge Merchan is overseeing Trump's first criminal trial and the only one currently scheduled to take place before the election. That's right, guys. This is not a civil trial. This is a criminal trial. On Tuesday, Trump won himself a gag order after attacking Merchan's daughter. The partial gag order forbids Trump from speaking publicly about courtroom staff. Literally, all that's happened here is that, like, the daughter of the judge presiding over his criminal case happens to not like Trump and has spoken negatively of Trump before, because that's allowed to be a thing. It's not illegal to dislike Trump, much to his chagrin. And so he is trying to, A, point this out as if it's some conflict of interest that exists, and B, he thinks that insulting the judge's daughter is going to go well for him because he just keeps on slipping out of justice at every turn so far. Although he is currently facing massive civil charges currently. A massive civil bail charge that he cannot afford. He may have to liquidate all of his assets in order to pay it because the bond companies or bond agencies, whatever they're called, they don't accept property, boats, art, things like that for bond. They don't accept assets. They accept liquid cash. So Trump's gonna have to liquidate, maybe file for bankruptcy, and maybe be able to pay part of the bond. And it's not a criminal bond, it's a civil bond, remember, but this is a criminal trial. This here is a criminal trial. This is not a civil trial. Judge Merchan is overseeing Trump's first criminal trial and the only one currently scheduled to take place before the election. On Tuesday, Trump won himself a gag order after attacking Merchan's daughter. The partial gag order forbids Trump from speaking publicly about courtroom staff, prosecutors, or any of their family members. He's already broken it and will continue to do so. Comments about jurors are also prohibited, as well as comments about witnesses, but wiggle room still exists within the order that allows Trump to attack Merchan or Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. It's still not going to help him. It's still not going to help him. He is literally attacking the daughter of the judge. There's no way. There's no way. Maybe Trump's method here is to try to, like, publicly attack the judges so much that if they bring down a even close to harsh sentence, then they'll look like they had a conflict of interest and he'll be able to use it as grounds to call for a retrial. Maybe that's his strategy. He's probably got, like, very good legal experts on the horn to talk to, just not really good lawyers. But in private, I'm sure he's got really good legal experts that tell him loopholes he can take advantage of to prolong this stuff. It remains to be seen what, if any, consequence there will be for the continued attacks. Trump should be no stranger to the legality of gag orders. So far, he's been hit with them in 2 of his other legal trials. In October, Judge Arthur Engoron silenced the former president after he ushered a scourge of far-right vitriol onto Engoron's chief law clerk. Trump was later fined $15,000 for violating the order. Judge Tanya Chutkan also imposed a gag order on the former president in his election interference trial, of which Trump continued to break. Trump is not capable of not being a complete piece of shit to anybody presiding over a case he's involved in. It's just that all of these trials have been so low stakes for some fucking reason that Trump doing everything wrong as almost like a brag of the fact that no matter what he does, the legal system can't get him. Is he eventually going to get too big for his britches, be too cocky for his own good, and end up, you know, rolling the dice and getting a nat 1 at the worst time? Could that happen? That's really the question at this point, because Trump has literally lived up to his name pretty consistently so far, the name of Teflon Don. One sec, chat.
Andrew, Judge Walton appointed...
This is so funny to me. Federal judge speaks out after Trump attacks New York judge's daughter. So this is a federal judge speaking on the issue on MSNBC, or as you guys probably call it, MSDNC.
By President Bush. This is someone who has had a lot of experience with January 6th defendants in Washington, D.C. Very unusual for a federal judge to do public interviews like this, and he's decided he wanted to have something to say about Donald Trump's conduct.
You know, it is very unusual to have judges speaking out in this way, but it's worth noting that Judge Walton, extremely respected judge in D.C., is not the only judge who has been speaking out. You have Beryl Howell, the former chief judge, Royce Lamberth, who used to be on the FISC, the FISA court, also very well respected.
When are these judges just going to put their foot down and just drop the heaviest possible hammer on Trump? Why can't these judges use the same type of shit they use to put, like, shitloads of black people into prison for the same crime that white people do for less time? Like, why is it that, like, we have data that overwhelmingly shows if you're black, you're more likely to go to jail or prison for longer to get a harsher sentence or be found guilty more likely than if you're white? There's clearly some level of wiggle room judges and juries, etc. have to, like, have a little bias play a factor here. Can we not have a little bias play a bit of a factor here? It's happening every single day to usually young black men all across the country. And meanwhile, Donald Trump somehow seems to get the lightest possible consequences every single time, despite constantly being a disruption to the court. He would literally, like, yell in the courtroom, insult the judge, and the judge will say, "Oh, I'm going to slap you on the wrist again if you do that one more time."
To judge, all speaking out about the problem of violence, of the problem of people spewing lies about the judiciary. And, you know, it makes sense that that is where we are, unfortunately, as a country. We lived through a time where the media was constantly attacked because it was a check on the power of Donald Trump. We lived through that with respect to the Department of Justice, individual prosecutors, as I know very well, for the same reason, because it was a check on his power. And now that he is facing enormous civil liability and criminal liability, with the first of the criminal cases starting on the 15th. This is all to be expected, and it's all a sign of where we are as a country. And it's good to see judges in a bipartisan way speaking up about the rule of law and how central and important it is to our country.
And it's
God, so much mainstream traditional media has a problem with being dry and boring. Part of what I want to do with my channel a lot with segments going into the future is taking these stories that you would more likely than not either have to read an article or watch a boring ass panel on MSNBC, sort of filter it into an entertaining format that still carries the information forward to you all, to give you the news, my commentary on it, but to do so in an entertaining way, so you're not just bored out of your mind. Because who the fuck, besides me, and like a very small group of people, watches this shit? That's a rhetorical question we can check. We can actually check. You know what? This actually has a lot of views. 212,000 views. Ooh, but 4.4 thousand likes. These are all going to be hate comments. Free the J6 hostages. Trump is innocent. I'm tired of the Democrats targeting him. He was the best president we've ever had. A lot of these are just, like, incoherently poorly typed. Yeah. It always sucks when you click on, like, a CNN or MSNBC video. It's, like, actually quite good reasonable coverage of an issue with like a lot of like evidence to back up what they're reporting to be the case. And it has like what views it does have are all from hate commenters that are like anti-fans that instant hate comment on every new CNN video, no matter what the topic is, but most certainly if it's covering Trump negatively. There's a bird screaming outside. I live in nature. There's always birds outside. Alrighty. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Breast president. Good segment, good segment. Nice to see you guys think so. Hey, if you guys are enjoying my content and you want to support me, the content, and, the channel, please consider leaving a like on my streams, my videos, etc. Simply dropping a thumbs up takes half a second and forces YouTube to push my content and the algorithm out to more people. So if you watch any of my videos or any of my streams, it really helps a lot if you can take the time to drop a like. It really, really does mean a lot to me as well. So thank you to everybody who does that. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile to support me, you can do so by doing what PepperT21 just did, by either donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, or Patreon. For example, PepperT21, thank you so much for the 5 Tier 1 gifted subs, the free 5 gifted subs to Akira Tanakel, Jade Kairuna, Default X, Umish... I can't pronounce her name. Ishidinger... I don't know how that's pronounced, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you Umish. And Jazz Dog, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Didn't say anything, but it really does mean a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. That's $25 dues right there, Pepper221. Let me update the dono goal really fast. Alrighty. Thank you all so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Very quickly, I'm going to take a quick restroom break, and then I'm going to do the final segment I have planned for today, and then we're going to start call-ins. And I'm going to stick very firmly to my 10-minute limit per call-in, unless we get into like a heated debate or a really interesting, productive conversation, because I really want to get a lot of people talked to today. And I'm really... I gotta stop doing call-ins where I get 3 or 4 people talked to, with like a dozen or more people waiting in line. I feel so bad every time. I need to not do that this time. Wait, call-ins are starting soon? Yes, call-ins will be starting after the next segment, so I will be right back. Let me go use the bathroom. Be patient while I'm gone. I'm not ending stream. I'm just going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I am back. The cat versus dog war is happening in my chat. People are expressing whether they're dog people or cat people, it seems. Yes, do not forget to like the stream. Matter of fact, how many people have liked the stream? I'm curious. 211 viewers and 101 likes? Chat, come on. That's 100 people watching right now. More than 100 people watching right now that haven't even liked the stream. What are you doing? What are you doing? You think your likes don't matter? You think your likes don't count? Come on. Come on. If you want to support the content, it really means a lot if you can drop that like. It really does. It really, really does. Okay. Alright. I got a lot of tabs I gotta prepare for this one, guys. Bear with me here for a moment.
Washing. His on.
All right. Man, this is such a convoluted ass drama. You guys are absolutely insane that you hear v and immediately you think Vosh. It's actually, that might be a concern. That might be a problem. That might be a little worrying. A little worrying. Okay. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Alrighty, so this is going to be an interesting topic because this is technically in the world of YouTube drama, but also exists very much in the world of real politics and law in particular. Now, if you're someone who exists online and watches gaming content, in particular GTA content, then you're probably familiar with a YouTuber who is pretty broadly considered to be the best GTA content creator. Maybe there are others that are considered the top, I don't know. But I generally do think that Darkviperau is typically regarded as like the best GTA creator insofar as the quality of his content. Listen, hate me if you want, but I like the Pacifist series. I think that's really interesting, seeing how people find creative ways to work around games having like barriers that try to make you play a certain way. I find very interesting, and so like it's very clear that takes a lot of effort. You know, the videos are high quality. He's got like a fairly charismatic voice and presentation. So, like, I can kind of... I can't show any of his videos to give you an example, but I can do my best at an impression. So, like, you'll throw on, like, one of his GTA videos, right? And it'll be like, Alright, so we're back with the GTA pacifist run, and last time, Michael had to, you know, it'll be like, he'll sort of just explain, like, what happened in the story, so he's both telling the story of GTA 5 in a pretty funny way as well. He kind of makes jokes out of what's actually happening. It's funnier if you know what the story actually is, because he's not telling the story exactly, he's making jokes out of it, yeah, etc., etc. I actually think Darkviperau, this guy here, I think that his Grand Theft Auto content is genuinely peak. Like, genuinely quite good. And I'm quite excited to see his reaction and content of GTA 6. Like, all drama aside, he is the biggest GTA fan that I know of. He has to be, considering, like, what he does for a living. And I am, nonetheless, despite all the drama we're about to discuss, quite excited to see him play GTA 6. Especially because GTA 6 takes place in my homeland of Florida, and I'm quite excited to explore my homeland in Grand Theft Auto. It's going to be crazy. All that aside, though, Darkviperau is unfortunately known for something other than his awesome Grand Theft Auto content outside of his community. Outside of his community and his fan base, he is known as the guy who is absolutely deranged, whiny, and insane about reaction content. Now, reaction content, or react content, whatever you want to call it, I feel we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't have a very quick clarification at the beginning of this part of the discussion. What react content means is different depending on who you're talking to. By literal definition, react content is content in which someone is reacting to something else, right? And the concept, like the pull of the content, is that the person who is making the video is like reacting to something for the first time, their genuine first-time reaction, and hopefully they've got an interesting enough personality, and like the way they react to surprising or interesting things is just typically entertaining enough that people want to see that person react to it, right? The appeal of this is obvious, right? Like, for example, if you've ever been a big fan of a TV show that has like a crazy fucking twist moment that like made you and all your friends freak the fuck out, one of my favorite things to do, maybe you guys can relate, is to then immediately seek out videos of people reacting to that scene for the first time. There's a whole genre of people on YouTube who react to themselves watching a new episode of like a TV show they're really into, and they'll like not film the TV, or they'll film the TV through a mirror and just show like clips of the most interesting reactions they had to the most interesting clips of the episode to avoid YouTube auto DMCAing, right? A lot of people enjoy that type of content because the concept of watching someone else share, you know, in a reaction is quite awesome. The Red Wedding from Game of Thrones has several react videos. Yeah, watching people react to the Red Wedding is obviously a very good example. I feel we need to start from a fundamental premise of like talking about react content before we get to our boy Dark Viper. And whether or not react content has any fundamental intrinsic value, or if it is, as Darkviperau has gone on record to say, I'm not quoting him directly here, but I have a feeling if he heard me say that he said this, he'd be like, not exactly what I said, but that about sums it up. He considers it a toxic, cancerous, destructive, content-stealing, lazy, shameless form of content that is making the platform worse and harming countless content creators who are having their content stolen. That is essentially the way that he frames it. It is. Many people in chat are going to agree with what he says here, but here's the problem with that. Why do you watch me? If you agree with that, why do you watch me? I react to stuff all the time on my channel. And not only that, but a lot of my reactions, despite being critical, react to the whole video. So are you guys saying that you do think the content I make is against, like, TOS and should be banned, but because I make content responding to conservatives and people you don't like, you're fine with it? It's very confusing, because I have had people in my own fan base agree with this perspective, and to be fair, that is kind of the point I'm going to be getting to in a moment. Because your reactions are additive. That's the problem, though. Darkviperau doesn't make that distinction. And unfortunately, a lot of people who agree with him think he does. So, let's get back to the React content topic, though. You guys are getting me distracted, and you're getting me knocked off track. So, very quickly. Here, where's the video I was thinking of? Yeah, here it is. I think I should be able to show this just fine. This is George R.R. Martin reacting to a bunch of people's reactions to the Red Wedding. No spoilers, by the way, but the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones.
Oh, shit. You guys knew about this?
So fucking good. Okay. Like, there's very clearly, was it that bad? It's not bad. It's... Do not tell anybody what the Red Wedding is, because it's a big spoil. You need to know. You can't know what the Red Wedding is, otherwise it won't hit as hard, right? But yeah, what just happened? I'm not ever going to respond to a single other person in chat who asks what just happened after I explain what just happened already. I'm going to make a new policy that if you just demonstrate you have zero listening comprehension skills, you are getting 100% ignored, and I am not acknowledging your comment or repeating what I said, ever. I'm instituting that new rule. It will be too destructive to, like, me staying on track if I respond to every person who asks that, just randomly, because they weren't paying attention for 5 seconds. Anyway, with that said, there's obviously some level of intrinsic value in the concept of a reaction, a blind first-time reaction, as a form of entertainment, right? I think most can agree with that. Is it for everybody? No. And I think that many people who find it's not for them are going to be more inclined to agreeing with this perspective. Here's the thing, though. Even if you have the opinion that reaction content is all across the board fundamentally bad no matter what, fair use does still exist. And while the rules that define fair use are, like, on purpose quite vague, at least here in America and in most states, the point of that is so that in court it can be determined on a case-by-case basis, because it is common that people have abused fair use law in the past because the legal system isn't perfect. You can sue anyone for anything, and if they don't have the means, time, and money to defend themselves in court, their chances are quite bad. And even if you lose, at least you can drain them of money, resources, and time. And so there's a reason why fair use laws are so intentionally vague, and it's because it needs to be, a case-by-case basis determination in court. And that is why fair use exists. And one of the core factors of fair use is whether or not the content that is being used in such a manner in which it is considered transformative. And there are many ways in which something can be considered transformative in court. One of those ways is parody. So, for example, you've got like Weird Al Yankovic. Now, to be fair, correct me if I'm wrong, I do think Weird Al famously would not cover songs unless he had permission to, because that was just how he did things. But if he, I do think he had 1 or 2 court battles at one point, and he still won. But he would still ask, he still asks artists because he's just a good guy. And that is essentially how I do non-critical reactions. If I'm going to do one, I will typically ask if it's a creator that I can ask. Typically, it's somebody who I know appreciates my coverage of their content or likes me, and I might frequently cover them. It's why there's like a pretty small pool of people I react to on stream positively. And if I get asked to take something down, I do. For example, Knowing Better made a video one time about neo-slavery. I thought it was amazing. And to be fair, I ended up adding over an hour of commentary to Knowing Better's video on it when I uploaded my video, but Knowing Better still messaged me on Twitter asking me to take it down because he doesn't like reaction content. He is of the same mindset as Darkviperau and believes that all forms of reaction content, no matter how transformative, are immoral, unethical, and shouldn't be allowed. And so if I didn't like Knowing Better, I absolutely would have challenged him and been like, no, this is absolutely not, like, you have no legal authority to ask of this of me. I considered it more of a polite asking, because he was quite polite in doing so, and I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll take it down. It's literally been like 2 months since it went out, too. It's not like tons of new people are coming in to watch the video, right? There's literally no skin off my back. Why would I be rude and say no? But yeah, I do think that there's a certain level of like, oh, if you don't want me to cover your content like this, I'm a nice enough guy to not do so, if you're polite about it. However, some people aren't quite as polite, and that's where Darkviperau comes in. You see, when you think of reaction content, you might think of anything from what I do, which is pretty additive and transformative reaction content. Like, I will usually watch, like, maybe a third, a quarter, or half of, like, a conservative propaganda video. Less so because I don't want to show all of it, and more so because I can't make it through all of it before the cringe has, like, started, you know, manifesting as physical pain, and I have to click out. But then I add, like, a substantial amount of runtime in my commentary, which is, like, mercilessly ripping apart every single individual point and argument made in the video, which involves a lot of pausing, talking for a long time, unpausing for a few seconds, pausing again and talking for a long time on repeat. You've seen my videos before, you know what I'm talking about. Here's the thing though, Darkviperau and many do not make that distinction. The distinction between, let's say, someone like XQC or Hassan, who he's made many videos on and built a lot of the support for his anti-reaction video sort of crusade against, on people like Hassan and XQC, who are absolutely, undeniably content thieves. The way they do, and Sniper Wolf too, the way they do react content is some of the most shameless thievery ever. They just kind of sit there silently and say, oh, wow, oh, crazy, every few minutes, you know? There's no actual, there's no actual commentary, no meat on the bones of that video to actually gnaw on. So, with that in mind, it bothers me that somebody can build up a lot of support for an idea off of a pretty unanimously bad thing, but then extend their moral condemnation of that thing way outside of what I think most people would consider to be on par. So that's where we get to what's happening today. Now, to be fair, the other person involved in this story, ChudLogic, is not someone that I like. The reason I don't like ChudLogic is that back when I got COVID for the first time, I tweeted that I had COVID, and for some reason ChudLogic's editor, like, who is a Nazi, to be fair, quote tweeted me with saying, praying that long COVID takes this motherfucker out. Just saying that they were praying that I die. And so I blocked them. And then in response to that, ChudLogic has hated me ever since. and I believe he started a rumor that I have AIDS. So ChudLogic is, do not get me wrong, a massive piece of shit. So I'm getting that out there right at the front of this to explain where my biases are here. Darkviperau is someone whose content I actually enjoy, and while I disagree with him substantially on his position in regards to React content, I hate ChudLogic for very obvious personal reasons, because he just lies about me, and he hates me because I wasn't okay with his editor praying for my death, I guess. Regardless, that makes it very clear where my biases should be here. I'm getting that out here right off the front, because if I criticize Darkviperau, I know for a fact the very immediate, obvious response from many of his fans is going to be, you just hate him, or you're just jealous, or just some dismissive point that's meant to say, oh, you just don't like him for some reason. It's like, well, I mean, I don't like this about him, but I actually do quite like him, as I've said before, and I quite dislike the other party involved in this drama, who, despite all of this, I think is in the right. I do think ChudLogic is in the right here. You see, not too long ago, ChudLogic made a video in which he responded to one of Darkviperau's videos. And ChudLogic's video responding to Darkviperau was pretty undeniably fair use. Like, I think the video added an extra hour almost of commentary to the original one, constant pausing, and I don't even think ChudLogic watched the entirety of Darkviper's original video anyway. But even if he did, it was quite transformative. In response, because the video was quite scathing of a takedown of Darkviper responded by issuing a takedown request on ChudLogic's video, and followed it up when I guess that didn't work out by suing ChudLogic. That's right. You know, ChudLogic's a pretty small content creator, to be clear, and, you know, he's got support and everything, but compared to Darkviperau, a 1.5 million sub YouTuber, ChudLogic is like an ant compared to him. This is really weird considering the fact that I have covered his content in the past before, and he didn't strike me. He didn't issue a takedown to me. He didn't sue me, which is kind of odd. Weirdly, he targeted specifically ChudLogic. I don't know why. Like, is this the first time he's done it? Or is this just the first time that we know he's done it? Hard to say. Regardless, he put out a video recently called How YouTube's Copyright Blunder Sparked a Hate Campaign Against Me. And the thumbnail are Turkey Tom, ChudLogic, who he's suing, Boblax, and Optimus. Now, I've got varying opinions on these people for different reasons, but I have to agree with them on this issue because, God, I mean, have you guys seen Darkviper's tweets on this whole issue? He's been tweeting nonstop for a week now, and it's literally every single tweet is in response to this. At one point, oh my God, it's actually fucking wild. At one point he tweeted, can I find the image? Listen, I love you, buddy. If you ever see this, Darkviper, and I'm sure maybe he will, you know, it's possible. He does seem to be pretty on top of when people talk about him. If you see this, man, you may want to chill out on Twitter. Simply because, to a lot of people, even when I like you, like, genuinely, this particular post I'm about to bring up does not play as well as I think you thought it did, okay? Oh, God. This person tweeted, Darkviperau is actively deleting comments he disagrees with as we speak. Mind you, this has 50 likes, okay? He is responding to every tweet about him, even if they have like 5, 10, 15, like less than 100 likes, he is responding to these people. This person is just like making a tweet about how Darkviperau is apparently, maybe, I'm not even gonna say that he is, but supposedly deleting negative comments on his video. But he responds to this claim in the most hilarious way you can possibly imagine. He responds with this: I was not even home. I was getting McDonald's. Prior to that, I was working on my video. You're an idiot. The first comment I read was like 5 minutes ago, and as far as I'm aware, there are not enough delusional people for their comments to be noticeable. And he posts a picture of him at his desk with a McDonald's cup and his editing timeline. And like, I believe him and all. I do not believe that he's lying, okay? I want to be very clear here. I believe this is actual proof that he went out and got McDonald's, that he did do so. But does anybody else not find it a little bit ridiculous that he posted, like, a 4chan I'm a real girl verification picture style image of him holding up? Like, I'm surprised he didn't have a whiteboard with the date on it. Unlike the other hand, you know? Like, it's just, why do you care to prove you're not mad to these randos? Because, Dark Viper, if you want to prove you're not mad and you don't give a fuck about these people and they're stupid and they don't matter to you, the best way to do that is to simply ignore these 50 how many followers? 380 follower WH Omega Lol Who's on Twitter. Just ignore these people. Like, stop engaging. Seriously, stop engaging. Eventually it's going to start making you look worse and worse and worse, even to the people who already agree with you. However, as much as I dislike him, I have to say that I side with Chud Logic in this from what I've seen. I don't agree with YouTubers suing other YouTubers to silence each other, like, just because of disagreement. It's really not something that I want to support as, like, a precedent. Just like, oh, you said something mean about me or did something I don't like in a video, I'm taking you to court. Like, come on, man. Is that where we're at now? Anyway, Chud Logic put out a video on it called Dark Viper HIV lashes out after DMCA fallout, leaks DMs, and deletes tweets. Is, like, saying people he dislikes have HIV or AIDS just a thing that Chud Logic does? Is that just like a running joke in his community? It appears that's his meme. Try very, very hard to ignore the fact that Chud Logic is a dead ringer for the quartering. Like, if they ever want to make a movie about the quartering's life, they need to hire Chud Logic and have him, like, voice train his British accent away into, like, an American accent, like they had Andrew Lincoln do for Rick Grimes. And he truly is a dead ringer. Like, I mean, seriously, look at him and then look at the quartering. Like, they're scarily similar. Honestly, if I told you this was the quartering video and started playing the video and he didn't have a British accent, would you have even noticed that this wasn't a quartering video? Anyway.
Arguments haven't really changed much since his
14-page meticulously written document.
This is why it's not even worth engaging with his arguments in any substantive way, because he's a little...
Okay, I don't really like these stingers at the beginning of videos, because they just kind of, like, disjoint the watching experience, and they confuse me whenever those bits of the video come back up again, like, later on. It's like, what the fuck am I rewatch? Oh, because they do yeah, it's just confusing to me. There's a reason I don't do them on my videos anymore. Chat, do you like stingers at the beginning of videos? I don't like them. I don't like them on videos, and so I've had my editor not do them, but if you guys like those, like, here are the interesting parts of the video right at the beginning stingers, and then the intro, and then the video, let me know. You guys don't like them? Okay, I will keep not doing them then. Let me know if you guys like them. But my understanding is, and my own belief is, they're not great. Why does he look like the quartering's lost twin brother? It is truly uncanny, isn't it?
I was actually at McDonald's with my kids yesterday, and then I got a message about this fucking Dark Viper video that dropped. As I said earlier, I've been very busy meticulously planning for this stream and come up with the following.
I have no friends. I have no life. I have no girlfriend. I barely see my family.
One more time if you missed it.
I have no friends. I have no life. I have no girlfriend. I barely see my family.
And one more time, just for...
Okay, I should probably add, because this is context you guys are probably not caught up on, Dark Viper AU has sort of... I don't want to call him a liar, because I like the guy. So I'm not going to call him a liar, but I will say he has told seemingly differing, opposing stories about the way that his personal life goes, depending on what kind of argument or point he's trying to make. So, for example, if he is trying to argue against someone saying he's just a YouTuber too, he doesn't work that hard, he would say, look how much I edit, look how hard I work, I literally have no life outside of work, I barely see my kids, I barely see my girlfriend. That's literally where that comes from. He'll say that to elaborate how hard he works. And honestly, I'm gonna be real, assuming he's telling the truth, he apparently streams like 10 hours a day, almost every day, and edits all of his videos and uploads at least once a day. That is a substantial amount of work for a single person. And I think makes his own thumbnails. So that is a lot of work for one person. He apparently also edits on stream, though. So, like, from what I understand, like, his videos are, like, edited and uploaded while he's streaming. Like, part of his stream is like, hey, guys, I'm editing today's video. So that's, like, an interesting way to sort of consolidate the time, I suppose. But I don't know if editing content is the most interesting for my channel, so I don't think that's my cup of tea. But regardless, Darkviperau will make that argument that he works so hard, but then when he wants to make it seem as though he touches grass and he's not some loser who's on the internet yelling at people, like someone will say he is, he'll respond by saying, I was just out having food with my girlfriend and my wife and my kids, you know? Like, he'll completely flip how he represents his personal life depending on what looks better at the moment. If it looks better for him to be this, like, no-life, grinding, hard worker, he'll say that's how his life is. If it looks better for him to be this, like, touches grass, lives his life normally kind of guy, he'll frame it like that. Whichever looks best at a given moment, it seems like.
Good luck.
I have no friends. I have no life. I have no girlfriend. I barely see my family.
There we go. So anyway, I haven't actually watched the video, so who knows what the fuck he said in it. No idea. No clue.
For the record, I don't believe if you're wondering why I'm not covering Darkviperau's video, it's because there's literally nothing I could do in a live format to cover it in such a way where Darkviperau would consider it to be acceptable and then not proceed to engage in copyright, at least claims, maybe even takedowns, and possibly legal action against me. He will literally, he has said and gone on record to say any form of live response content, by definition, cannot be fair use. He has, actively said that my entire type of content, no matter how transformative, should be banned from YouTube. And should not be allowed. And the only type of response or react, quote-unquote, content that should be allowed to exist is pre-scripted, pre-edited, pre-recorded, and uploaded, with very small, short, selected clips that you've already seen meant for the purpose of, making a point. That is the only type of reaction content Darkviperau thinks should be allowed on YouTube, and he will act on that policy. Darkviperau is convinced that fair use sides with him, and that fair use law agrees with that perspective. Now, it's possible that in some cases it might, because fair use laws are written so vaguely that depending on the judge and whatever case, court you're in, you might have a different outcome. But the whole point of it is that depending on the content in question, it will be determined whether or not it qualifies as fair use. Because fair use, in many ways, exists in the spirit of the content, less so than the actual content itself. In many cases, what is determined to be, the fault of someone in a legal sense has to do with intent, unless there's actual harm and damages that can be proven. If no harm and damages can be proven, at that point you just have to prove some sort of malicious intent. And that's quite hard to prove when someone's just making very clearly long pauses of I'm going to stop and debunk points here for 10 minutes and then resume the video. And the original video is 15 minutes and the total React video is an hour and a half long because there's an extra hour and 15 minutes of commentary responding to every point. That is very different than a Sniper Wolf reaction, but not in Dark Viper's view. And Dark Viper will use the copyright system on YouTube and the legal system as if the law agrees with him. And the problem is, even if the law doesn't agree with him, one might say, well, who cares? If you think you're in the right, then take it to court. But that's fucking insane. Dark Viper's AU's responses to everything are always like, I have given you impossible standards to meet. Why don't you just meet them? It's that easy. For example, he'll make a big video that is like against reaction content, like a 15-minute long, 20-minute long video that's like opposed to reaction content. And a YouTuber like me is allowed to respond to that video, but you can't live respond to it. You have to watch it off stream, write down the arguments you disagree with, save the arguments you want to make at the time, and then respond to it live or respond to it offline that way. You cannot show the actual video unless it's select like few second clips that don't make up like more than a minute maybe of the total video when it comes out. That is how severe his standard is, and he has explained this ad nauseum in the past. The fact is, though, his responses to people who don't want to do this, why don't you just do your research and learn what I actually believe? Why do you keep saying I've said stuff that I haven't said? Why don't you just... And obviously, I've watched his stuff off stream, so I know what he believes, and I am accurately reiterating what his values are. I don't think he could, like, cover this video and say that I misrepresented him at any point. And if I have misrepresented him here, then I'm glad, because it's an accident and his positions are not as bad, in my opinion, as I think they are. That would be a good thing, in my opinion, if I was misled on what he actually believes on this, but I am pretty certain I'm quoting him mostly word for word on most of these takes. So it's very problematic to me that this is a YouTuber with a massive audience, a lot of support, and a lot of money who is willing to take other smaller YouTubers to court, and his response to, hey, you shouldn't be taking smaller YouTubers to court when they make fair use responses to your videos, is, well, if their videos are fair use, they'll just win the court case. That's not a good argument, because going through the legal system sucks. There's no excuse to just, as a, well, let's find out what happens, take another YouTuber to court just because you don't like they made a response video. Or make a response video? Well, I don't know what you're responding to there, Galaxy Bomb, but, like, if you make a response video to one of his videos that shows too much of his content, then you're screwed. And the problem is his main, like, group of people he's attacking are streamers, and so he expects streamers to, like, while not streaming, which is their job, to do, like, homework to make a prepared video that is not the type of content they typically make, that is scripted and, like, pre-made to respond to it. Those are the standards he has made for how you have to respond to him, and if you don't respond to him like that, he'll claim you're dishonest or proceed with legal action against you. But then if you don't do those things, he'll say you're too afraid to respond to him, and you're too afraid to go against him. He creates impossible standards to meet. Well, not impossible, but, like, ridiculous standards to meet. And then when you just don't even care to try and meet them, he says, see, if you really had an argument, you would have made your edited, scripted response video to me. Streamer destroyed.
Literally no clue what's going on. The thing with Dark Viper is he's one of these people. The stream was muted. Oh, sorry, one more time.
I have no friends. I have no life. I have no girlfriend. I barely see my family.
Dark Viper is one of these people who, in the moment, on like a live stream, when he's asked about something like this, will act like a little pussy. Because there were clips at the time of when he originally filed this of people going to his stream and asking questions. I think Keemstar and Nicholas Diorio went to his stream and asked him questions about it. And he was a little sheepish freak about it at the time and didn't want to fucking answer it. But then what he's done is he's gone away and gone to his little editing suite, right, where he can record as many takes as he wants so he doesn't sound like a snivelling freak, and recorded some fucking response video. The thing is about it as well is, like, he's kind of attacked everyone. Like, all of the commentary people he's gone after, because a lot of them don't agree with his absolutely fucking rabid campaign against, you know, all forms of React content, even ones that are arguably transformative. But yeah, obviously...
That's the fact of it, by the way. Notice how nobody went against Jack's films the same way Darkviperau has had people go against him. Because no one disagrees with, like, the banning or, like, elimination and shaming of that, like, shameless, low-effort React content like Sniper Wolf and like, Hassan. Nobody broadly disagrees with that. The same people that Darkviperau is fighting with right now have criticized Hassan for this, as have I. The fact is, Darkviperau wants to see the concept of live-streamed reactions, no matter how transformative, eliminated. Because, and I'm going to be honest, I think it's just, he finds it lazy. He's said it's lazy many times, but I think it's deeper than he just finds it lazy. I think he finds it lazy and is upset that people can make live content where they talk about things off the cuff, which he can do as well, based off of the talking points started by another person's content. Take that and make an entire video inspired off of the, like, the starting point of someone else's video. And is it lazier content? I'd say yes, in my view. For some people, they may find prepared content where they just have to, like, script, record, edit, and upload easier than having to live stream because they have social anxieties that makes streaming harder, or they just have a schedule or health problems or whatever it may be that makes streaming at set times harder, and so they'd rather have, like, a more ContraPoints style schedule where they, you know, make prepared content when they can, and they have, like, support through different means. That is, like, you know, maybe some people would find that easier than streaming, but I think most people would find streaming easier than, like, the prepared content that Dark Viper does on the side with his streaming stuff. And so from his perspective, he works his ass off, and there's no doubt about that. Darkviperau works his ass off for the views and money that he gets. He streams a shitload, he edits his videos, he makes his own thumbnails, and he uploads his videos. And he uploads consistently, and he streams consistently, and he streams for a long fucking time, and the content's actually good. And I mean, you saw his editing timeline there in that screenshot. These are not, like, 10-minute, like, throw something into, like, Adobe Premiere Pro, cut out some, like, silent moments and then throw it up on YouTube type edits. There's, like, so many cuts that it's just slivers. Just, like, it looks like you're looking at the side of a big, thick, hardcover book, and every page is just those tiny little lines of grain. That is how his edits look on the timeline. So he clearly works his fucking ass off. So from his perspective, I think he's a bit jealous that there are people who are doing comparatively less work and getting any level of support. It's not that they're getting more or as much support as him, because they're not. In most cases. Obviously, you've got your XQCs and your Hassans, but those are very special cases. Chudlogic has, like, a minuscule amount of support compared to Darkviperau. And despite that, he's going after Chudlogic. And many of these other smaller content creators. The fact is, he doesn't believe that, for example, the type of content I make should be a viable way of making a living or creating a platform online. He thinks it should take more work. And if you haven't put in as much work, at least as much, maybe not as much work as him, but at least more work than I or most streamers have, then you don't deserve to have a platform, and you don't deserve to make a living off of this content. And instead of just saying people don't deserve it, because a lot of people have things in life they don't deserve, that's just kind of how life works. Instead of saying that these streamers don't deserve their success, he's instead trying to create a narrative in which these streamers are committing a moral wrong by getting their success. Somehow their reaction videos are hurting people, so much so you need to be outraged about their existence. No matter how transformative, their laziness should outrage you. I think that is where his anger is truly coming from. My armchair psychotherapy segment of this section, or section of this segment, has ended. But yeah, I think that's basically it. He's sort of gatekeeping. It's basically YouTube success gatekeeping. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Now, granted, he hasn't outright said this. I'm not saying he's, like, admitted that this is why he's like this. So he's like Frank Grimes? Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Chat, who knows who Frank Grimes from The Simpsons is? That is exactly what he is. He is pissed off that, like, the Homers are getting to quote-unquote skate by through life, and yet he's had to work so hard, and yet nothing ever goes his way. Holy shit, he's like, he has Frank Grimes from The Simpsons syndrome. That's literally who he is. If you don't know who Frank Grimes is, just look up The Simpsons Frank Grimes, and you'll quickly figure it out. One of the best episodes of old Simpsons.
No, I'm not going to be reacted to it on stream because, unfortunately, well, let me put it this way.
I have no friends. I have no life. I have no girlfriend. I barely see my family.
I unfortunately do have a life, so I don't have time to, contend with this fucking autist filing endless DMCAs against my channel. So, yeah, but that doesn't matter. I've got lots of stuff to look at. The sort of like, what is it? The fallout from this is quite funny, so we can have a look at that at least.
I have no friends. I have no life.
Okay, the sound bites are getting annoying.
Rabid, it's insane. Never seen anything like it before.
Oh.
Think they're fucking copyright experts, right? Fucking gay little comments. Yeah, like, listen, bring it on as far as I'm concerned. Keep leaving your fucking gay little comments. I literally don't care. But, like, his fan base is fucking insane. Like, I've never seen anything like it before, where they are, like, little fucking automatons, like bots, who think they're fucking copyright experts, right? And they come to your fucking comment section and come to you on Twitter and they're fucking absolutely rabid. It's insane.
He definitely has a pretty substantial portion of his audience who are a lot like... They remind me a lot of Leafy's fan base. Do you remember how many of you guys were even on YouTube in 2015? And remember when, like, one day every comment section was filled with hiss? Who remembers that? Or Maximilianmus, when every comment section was filled with oh yeah yeah, from dudes with, like, the Maximilianmus profile picture. That guy ended up being a pedophile or something, I think, and ran off the internet, by the way. Maximilianmus. He, like, coerced a guy into, like, eating shit in his Discord or something on video chat. It was really fucked. Like, there are, like, content creators who create these weird cults of personalities where their fans go out on the patrol searching for anyone shit-talking their fave. Destiny's community does this quite consistently, and, like, I'm not even, like, saying this is wrong. I'm just saying it is a thing that happens. There are just YouTubers who have fan bases who do this, and I don't know how you make it happen. It probably has something to do with the amount of time you've done content, and thus having fans that are, like, very dedicated over that time. Like, you know, if you can find, like, 5 like 2 follower accounts on Twitter that have shit-talked Destiny that have 10 replies from Destiny fans calling them stupid, right? And, like, that doesn't happen on accident. That's because Destiny fans, they're out there looking. Another good example is Leafy. Back in the day, Leafy sent his fans to go spam hiss in every comment section everywhere. Same with Maximilianmus and oh yeah yeah. Darkviperau is one of those YouTubers. His fans, he's covered one of my videos before in the past. And when that happened, my comment sections were filled with Merryweather Fleet's here, bro, for like 3 months. To be fair, they weren't rude. They didn't really say anything like horrible or mean. Of all the big YouTubers who have ever covered me in a negative way before, and I've had their fans come after me, possibly the most chill. Many of them ended up becoming fans of me because they liked my politics, even though they didn't, like, care for my takes on React content. And so that was nice. But overall, like, they just spammed this, like, meme from his community in the chat and in the comments, and it was like, okay, this is one of those YouTubers who's, like, fan base does this so consistently. They've got, like, a catchphrase they spam, like, unanimously when they raid another, community's channel, right? So I that kind of gets across what I'm talking about here. He does have, I wouldn't say a rabid fan base, but definitely a fan base that if he talks about you, you're going to have a lot of notifications for a while. And they're all going to be saying the same thing.
insane. Never seen anything like it before, right? Crazy.
I will say, Darkviperau seems to have a real stick up his ass about the copyright rules on YouTube. I wonder if he feels the same way about YouTube's rules against organized harassment of other creators. Because I would say that your community having a literal, like, unanimous cultural catchphrase they all know to say when they raid other channels' comment sections, that seems like it's YouTube might not be a big fan of that. It just seems hypocritical is my point. Like, is he against, like, organized raiding of people's channels, which is a YouTube rule? Like, I don't know. He claims he has, to be fair, a moral disagreement with reaction content, not just disliking it because it's illegal, to be fair. So maybe he doesn't have any moral opposition to raiding people online.
Well, I was going to say, Tommy C, I'm coming around to your way of thinking, okay? And on top of that as well, I think that these fans are the kinds of people that would cheer on as the as a certain group get called in the 40s in a certain country to clear out certain types of people from the attic. Let's put it that way, okay? Let's put it that way. They would be cheering it on, I would say. So yeah, I mean,
Chad Logic is very cringe. I'm not denying that. Listen, this is not a case of Chud is a good guy. This is a case of Chud is being victimized in a way that is pretty important for us to talk about. Because if this becomes a standard that's just accepted because Darkviperau gets away with it, that is a scary future for YouTube, where it's just the norm for people to sue other YouTubers that talk about them in a way they don't like, on the grounds of, you stole my content, it's copyright. And regardless of who's right or wrong, you still have to go through the legal process and go and spend that money, spend that time, go through that stress, because that is just how it works. You can't get out of that no matter how in the right and how good your lawyers are. Yep, it's what Illuminati is doing. Blair, yeah.
I mean, he has got, like, this absolutely autistic fervor over this point. And, you know, I'm pretty sure, because the thing is, to bear in mind with this all happened months ago, okay? So him filing this DMCA takedown request happened months ago. It didn't go through. YouTube kicked it back because he didn't fill out the fucking form correctly, and YouTube didn't think it was legitimate. And after months of badgering, using a lawyer as well, he's managed to get the video taken down. But you could have made this video months ago. And I think, I got a feeling, obviously, this is just a feeling. I've got no proof to point to for this, right? But what I feel has happened here is that he's waited until the videos come down to release this video, because then he can characterize it however he wants. He can characterize it literally however he wants, and then no one can actually go and check the original video to see what they think of it on a personal level, you know? We're going to watch Turkey Tom's video about it at the time, just to see what his take was on it back then.
Well, we're not going to watch to him reacting to another person's video, obviously, but I feel like that's pretty much the long and short of it. Essentially, Darkviperau got a lawyer and had Chud Logic's fair use response to Dark Viper's video taken down, and because Chud Logic didn't want to defend it and deal with the legal shit, it got taken down. And now that it's down, Dark Viper has now made videos claiming that the video in question that he had taken down was something other than what it actually was. So he basically had the evidence that he is lying about the content of the video taken down using a lawyer, and is now lying about the content of that video. This is not a standard we want to set on this platform. I don't care who it's happening to. We need to call it out, because it's going to happen to somebody else who doesn't deserve it in the future, okay? And I don't care if Chud Logic's a bad dude and if you think he deserves it. There are definitely people who do not deserve it that this is going to happen to in the future if this is not unanimously demonized and fought against and talked down about. Like, this should not be something that someone can get away with without having to make a serious apology. And yet, Darkviperau is fine. Because the framing that a lot of people have is like the couple of people in chat who said Dark Viper's position on reaction content is based earlier. These are fans of me who watch my videos. I have a feeling they don't consider my content to be bad and worthy of being, like, legally outlawed or taken down by YouTube. And yet when they heard, not Chud Logic, Dark Viper AU's, like, extreme, like, over-the-top, ridiculous take on all reaction content, they said based. Because a lot of people online who are not creators are generally inclined to hate reaction content when they hear that word, because when they hear that word, they think like Sniper Wolf or Hassan just stealing someone's videos, or like XQC just sitting there silently and eating as someone else's video plays. But what Dark Viper AU means is everything live. If you like the concept of watching something live with someone else on YouTube, and that's like the content, say goodbye to that. That's what Dark Viper AU wants banned. He doesn't believe live content can be transformative, fundamentally, principally. It's a very insane and dangerous thought process, I think. I don't like this idea of gatekeeping content success online. Dark Viper, if you see this, man, like, you've hit the top. You're over 1 million subs. You've got a golden play button. You're doing just fine for yourself. If people are genuinely stealing other people's content shamelessly and they're not putting in the effort to make it transformative and create their own commentary and create their own art, their own video from the inspiration of what they're reacting to, then go against it by all means. You know, like Jack's Films did this and nobody has an issue with it. You know who did have an issue with it, though, when Jack's Films went against it, though? Dark Viper. I wish I could bring up the tweet fast, but I don't want to take too long to do it. But Dark Viper AU had this, like, really upset tweet thread when the Jack's Films versus Sniper Wolf stuff happened, because he was upset that Jack's Films wasn't getting any of the pushback he got, because he fails to recognize that the vast majority of people make the distinction he doesn't between genuinely transformative, high-effort response/reaction content and the low-effort reaction content that he characterizes all reaction content as being, thus giving the impression that's all he's against to many of the people who are on his side, besides, you know, his most fervent followers. Alrighty, what'd you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. W segment? Hell yeah. Well, if you enjoyed that segment or any of my content, please consider dropping a like. Every single thumbs up on my videos, streams, and everything else really does go a long way. It helps me a lot, every single one, and I really do appreciate it. Likes basically force YouTube to push my content in the algorithm to more people, so every single like helps me a lot. It means more people getting my videos in their recommended feed and more people getting into my channel. It really means a lot. Thank you to all those that drop a like. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile like PepperT21 did, you can donate, subscribe, or gift subs on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or through Patreon. But with all that said, no matter how you support me, thank you for being here so far. PepperT21, thank you so much for the 5 Tier 1 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, that is so kind of you. It really means a lot. Thank you for the $25. It really, really does help. Says, or gifted to Fish Bulbish, JLS Chicken 1, Roxagon, This One, and Clairvoya. Hopefully you guys enjoy your gifted subs. Those are totally free, and now you've got a bunch of unlocked emotes too. Saw Black Warhammer YouTuber called Ebony Otaku, as well as several anime YouTubers. My girlfriend is a black hentai artist, so the algorithm might be biased. Keck W. Well, hey, that sounds pretty fucking based. I'm glad to hear that that's not a thing that doesn't exist. One sec, I gotta go get a water and use the restroom. I will be right back, and then we're going to be booting up Vintage Story, and I'm going to be doing call-ins. You know, the right really is wrong about how the left can't meme. The left can meme, but only in a negative way about their own favorite, like, figures. Never about conservatives. Like, the quartering actually pisses in his basement, and this somehow becomes a meme about how I piss in my basement. Good work, guys. You're doing a great job of making the right look bad. Flawless rhetoric. Okay, chat. I have to share something with you all. Before we start call-ins, I have to share something with you all. This is 100% real, but I was shown a study yesterday of, like, hundreds of thousands of participants polling their political values and charting them, like how much they identify as right or left wing, and taking their IQ scores and, like, plotting them up. And obviously it made a bell curve, as most, like, any data that you plot does makes a bell curve. It's the most common distribution ever. And so I think it's literally called a normal distribution as well, is another word for it. Anyway, the bell curve showed something very unsurprising to me. And I would have said this before I saw this study, but I could have never proven it to be the case. And it says exactly what I think it says. The dumbest people, as far as the lowest IQ, obviously that's not necessarily the perfect gauge of intelligence, but whatever. The dumbest and the highest IQ, smartest people tend to be on the left. While people with the more median average IQ tend to identify as more conservative. When you plot it out, the low IQ side of the graph is very left-leaning, and then the high IQ side of the graph is very left-leaning, and then the average IQ side of the graph spikes into the conservative zone. And so I literally just see that study, like that graph, just flash in my fucking brain every time I read a comment from one of you guys that just, like, befuddles me as to how someone could say something so dumb. I remember, hey, it's someone from the left side of the bell curve. Hey, how you doing? How's the weather over there? On the left side of the hump. So you're calling us stupid? No. I'm not calling you specifically stupid. I'm calling some of you stupid. Not all of you. Not you specifically, viewer, who might feel targeted by this right now. I'm calling everyone who's not you, who's watching right now, part of that group. I mean everyone but you. To be fair, I'm pretty stupid unless I'm hyper-focusing. Yeah. Nice save, Zan. Yeah. No, I'm not even joking about that, though. I think that study... I think I can get it out. Where's the study? I think I might have gotten it DM'd to me. No, I didn't. I can't. Hold on. Maybe I can find it myself, and then we'll get into the segments. And I'm already bored because I can't tell which one of these the graph would come from by reading the name of the website. Fucking hell. Damn it, I really should have had Ethan send that to me. I thought he did, I told him to, but he didn't. I didn't check if he did, and he didn't. Fuck. I am definitely gonna have to grab that. That is gonna be needed in the future. Well, I think that, like, the data shows that conservatives are more often than not just average intelligence. They're not especially dumb, and they're certainly not especially smart as far as their, like, IQ score goes. It's not that they are not capable of being smart or correct, it's that many conservatives are just A, they come from a background where they didn't really have the best education, and B, they've been propagandized to. And sometimes the propaganda is just a lack of exposure, you know? If you're like 50 and you've never met a gay person or a non-white person before, it's kind of likely you're just going to end up racist, you know? You're going to be racist or homophobic. You've just never had that exposure. It's why exposure and representation is so important, because it reduces the amount of stigma and bigotry. People are less bigoted when they know of people or even fictional characters who are of a certain identity and are not bad, you know? Like, that are charismatic or likable characters or people. True, Zan? Everything I say is true. Yeah, of course. What do you mean? Yeah, of course what I said was true. Everything I say is true. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Okay, I am currently booting up Vintage Story. And we're going to be doing call-ins, so make sure to hop in the queue, VC, if you want to be pulled in order to do the call-ins. I really hope, please make sure that you actually have something to talk about with me planned before you get drawn in, because I've drawn in a lot of people who weren't ready to talk to me, but they were waiting in line. Don't do that. Only hop in if you know you've got something to talk about and you know what it is. Just because, you know, there's no reason not to do it that way. Yeah, I'm going to try to limit every conversation to 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to try to get through a lot of people today. And make sure your mic works, too. You can tell if your mic works by checking if the ring around your profile picture lights up green when you talk. If it does that when you speak into your mic, you're probably good. Make sure you have crisp, KRISP, turned on in Discord settings. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of background noise and stuff. It'll immediately improve your microphone quality if you do that. So make sure you have it turned on, because if your mic quality is low, I might ask you to just turn on crisp, and if you don't figure it out, I might have to move you out, because if the quality's bad enough, we might just have to move on to the next person. If you don't know how to turn on crisp, you can Google it. But I want to make sure this call-in stream is good. We got to make it fair to everybody and get through as many people as possible today. All right? So we're gonna do this as well as possible. I'm logging into Vintage Story. I'm gonna get the game capturing, and then I'm gonna hop into the Debate Me VC and start pulling people in. A sexual attorney? Oh. We live in a society. I'm so addicted to Kiritanikel. It's so fucking good. It's so insanely fucking good. Another game I've been playing off stream, besides Vintage Story, is The Witcher 3. I've been playing The Witcher 3 with the new next-gen update, the graphics update. I never beat The Witcher 3 back in the day. The furthest I ever got was the Crones. And so now I'm finally going to get past that point and actually beat the game. You know, I've got it on a good PC, and I've got You know, I've got like the next gen graphics update on top of that, so I don't even have to worry about oh boy. Oh boy. Everything went to shit when the game started. Oh, the lag is maybe getting better? Why would it lag? I've literally streamed this game before and it hasn't lagged. Oh, it's getting better. Oh, okay. Huh. I guess oh, okay. Whoa. No, the lag's me, guys. The lag's me. I think my game just needs to, like, load and stuff. And then it'll stop lagging. It's getting better. It's getting better. Yes, I know it's laggy. Yes, it's the game. It's the game, because my computer... Oh, the sound's good? Good. Yeah, it's just the lag. The lag's getting less bad as I sit in the world longer. It's generating, like, the world around me. And, like, caching shaders or whatever. So it's stuttering less and less the longer I walk around. Run around a bit, jump a bit. Oh, that's a hard freeze. Come on. We're breaking out of it. Come on, lag, stop. I have literally streamed this game before. There's no way it is just lagging now for no reason. Yeah, okay, now we're... Oh, are we gonna be good? It goes from perfect frame rate to laggy. Okay. We should be good now. Oh, this might have crashed OBS. I hope not. Oh, there we go. Stop screen cap. Switch to game cap. Boom. Okay. See, it's like, it goes from being perfectly smooth to then stuttering with insane lag. Like, see, perfectly smooth. Oh, that was a bit of a stutter. Oh, now we're back to frozen. So I'm experiencing the lag just as you guys are. This is not just a stream thing, guys. This is me. This is my PC. I really need a new PC. I cannot wait for the RTX 5000 series to drop so I can make a new fucking computer. Is that The Witcher 3 doing that? No, I was talking about how I'm playing The Witcher 3 off stream. Okay, hopefully we're good now. There are still spikes. Is this a server? It is not a server. It's a single-player world. Okay, I think we're good now. It seems pretty smooth. If it lags, I'll just fight... Oh my god. I'll try... Nope, I can't fight through this. Nope, it'll get me killed too much. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the game. I'm going to restart the game. Because that's insane. Actually, I'm going to Google the problem. I know that won't work. There's no reason for that to work. Vintage story massive freezes when streaming. Oh, I'm running out of RAM. I have 32 gigs of DDR5, 3200 megahertz or whatever. Or 3500, sorry, not 3200, 3500. Alright, I'm gonna try restarting it. And if that doesn't work, then I'll have to play something else. If it continues to fuck up, I'll have to play something else while we do call-ins. I do not have any inside scoop, Chill Will. Oh, did this fix it? I'll be damned, this seems damn near fixed. It's like slightly stuttery, but like in the normal way it is when I enter a new world. Yeah, I think I fixed it. Okay, for some reason, that was just a fucked, like, load up of the game for some reason. So I guess that's just a thing that can happen. Very cool. Very neat. That was a little lag, but that's normal because it's loading the world. I just logged in. This is my place. As you can see, it's a little messy and made of dirt. And there are now monsters outside. Very good, very good. But yeah, we're good now, I think. I think we're all good. I think we got this. All right. Time to start the call-ins now. Actually, I don't even need to switch this out. Here, very quickly, let me hop in. Here. Nice. Okay. Who shall I talk to first? I'm going to prioritize people that I don't remember ever speaking to before. And we're going to put 10 minutes in the timer. You can get an extra 5 if the conversation is interesting, and even more if it's a debate that has me enthralled and we get caught up in it, okay? All right. I think we're going to start with Lord Shadius the 4th. I think it's the 4th. Is IV the 4th or is VI the 4th? If it's VI, if VI is the 4th, then it's Lord Shadius the 4th. All right. Actually, first I'm going to start the recording. All right. Okay, Lord Shadius the 4th. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a good day today.
How's your day been?
Pretty good. Sorry, you were muted there for a second. I went ahead and fixed that, though, so they heard you say, how's your day been? It's been going pretty well. I'm glad to hear things are good in your department. So yeah, what did you want to talk about today? Feel free to introduce yourself and kind of give your opening statement.
All right, well, my name is Andrew. I'm currently going to college for computer science up in northern Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna close out your stream real quick just so I can like not have the echo from that.
Oh yeah. Fair advice to other people waiting. You might want to have the stream like ready to pause or mute whenever you hop on or get pulled in, because the echo will be pretty disorienting.
Yeah, yeah. And today I was roaming around YouTube like you do, and I was watching this guy called Owen Morgan Telltale. He's an atheist channel, lefty channel. And I heard, and I watched a video about him interviewing a guy named Stu Peters. He's like a right-wing demagogue, same like Alex Jones kind of, but not nearly as big. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm just messing with
nervous.
the audio. Oh yeah, no, feel free to keep talking. It helps me with the audio balancing.
All right. Oh, okay. And I saw that he had this, and in this video he had this guest on who was a anti-vaxxer, and she had the belief, or said she had the belief, that apparently when you take the vaccine you become magnetized, according to her.
Oh, that's where that comes from? I saw that way back in the day where people were trying to pass off like sticking glued fridge magnets on their arms, and them sticking is like, I got the vaccine and now the spot where I got jabbed in my arm is magnetic. The fridge magnets are sticking to it. Or it'll be like their mom or something. It was like, that was the meme right after the fake polio trend among the anti-vaxxers. Do you remember that one? Where they were all faking polio or whatever, where they were just like, oh, we've become paralyzed. And some of them were like faking this like permanent seizure thing because of the vaccine, where they were like, oh, I can't stop shaking my arms and legs ever since I got the vaccine. As if they're in like a severe fever 24/7, and it's just the most obvious bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while.
And I've seen, like, over the past, like, 3 or 4 years, as I'm 18 years old, so I wasn't really politically developed until, like, 2 or 3 years ago. So, over the past, like, 2 or 3 years, I've started to realize that people believe in just the weirdest things. Like, there's this whole, like, group on I can't remember what the name of the website is. It's called Bumble or Rumble, I think the name
Rumble.
of the website is.
Yeah, you're probably thinking
and
Rumble.
there's this pastor I was looking into. Let me just look up the name of him real quick.
Jesse Lee Peterson?
No, not him. This is a. Oh,
I wish. He's the best. I love talking about Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, he's kind of he's definitely an interesting dude. Shane Vaughn, that's his name. Shane Vaughn. He holds the belief that Donald Trump is a messiah, as in, like, the Christian messiah.
Okay.
And
I have one clarifying question. Does he believe Mr. Beast is the Antichrist?
I don't even think he knows who Mr. Beast is, honestly. He's
God, I
like,
can't wait to find out for when he does.
music.
A guy named Mr. Beast, like the mark of the beast, whose whole thing is doing good deeds, but he's also, like, progressive and pro-trans. There's a reason why conservatives think that guy's the Antichrist. Like, the boxes do fit if you are crazy enough to believe in that shit in the first place.
Yeah, I know. And it's just, again, the things that I've seen, like, far right conservatives start to believe in, like, you know, the whole, you take the vaccine, you turn into fucking Magneto. It just amazes me how they even come up with all of this. It's just...
It's weird because so many of them talk about medical stuff in the same way that I imagined my own biology to work as a child. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like, recently, there's this trend among these people that has to do with, like, getting, like, a quarter cup of baking soda, or, like, a whole cup or something, like an excessive amount of baking soda, an amount that the human body cannot handle without adverse reactions. Just, like, mixing it into water and then drinking it. And yes, if you know what that does, they are aware of what it does too. It makes you shit your brains out for a very long time. It's also super dehydrating on its own. So, like, when you're shitting nonstop from all of it, you're going to get even more dehydrated. So it's possible that you might end up in the hospital if you're not careful. But conservatives are now downing cups of, like, dissolved baking soda to induce insane diarrhea because, as they say, I can feel all the toxins leaving my body. And it's like, bro, you're constipated because you eat a shitty-ass, high fructose corn syrup American diet, so your organs have, like, shits from a week ago somewhere in there, and now that's stopped because you've just given yourself, like, homemade colon blow, and you think you've detoxed. You think, like, the cure-all is in your... I think the quote is, the cure for all ailments is literally under everyone's sink. Was the post. It had 25,000 likes. I saw this yesterday night. At this point, I don't even bother responding to those posts because if people are doing this and, like, are putting their own lives in danger, and they're that stupid and willing to believe it, I kind of want them to do it. Why would I even try to stop them at this point?
What were they taking during... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you got it.
Well, what were they taking during COVID? It was like some sort of horse tranquilizer or something like that?
Yeah, hydrochloroquine was one of them. I don't know if it was that.
Yes.
Man, my game's lagging
Yeah,
like
it
crazy
was...
out of nowhere. Sorry.
Oh. No, you're good, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think, like, think about there's even another person that I've watched. She's a quote unquote prophet who makes all these like prophecies about like, oh, Trump's not gonna get indicted, or oh, Trump's gonna come back to the White House and all that. And she's been wrong, like, and that guy I was talking about, that YouTuber I've been watching, Owen Morgan, he's gone through like all of her predictions, quote unquote, or prophecies, quote unquote, and he's debunked like every single one of them. So yeah, it kind of scares me a little bit to know that there are people who are this delusional about themselves, or who think this highly of themselves, or at least people who think of people like that highly.
Yeah. Well, it's like they literally think like children, as I mentioned before. Like the way they think about it is like, yes, when you sneeze, you're getting like the headache out. That's like the kind of thought process I'd have as a kid. Like, yeah, sneezing that one time made a headache go away, and